Hello everyone, my name is Decalink the Trained Unprofessional, and welcome back to Major Minor. On the last episode, we picked Conrad, and now we're heading off to the balls! To the balls. WWE Great Balls of Fire. When I get outside, I immediately notice the carriage. My mind snaps back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. To Tokyo, when I first saw the limo. By the way, someone noticed that I kept doing that. I kept referencing that one line so many times. That they actually told me what the other part of the line was, so that, because I didn't know. I just know hope or doom, man. I just kept saying that. You guys are awesome. Mine snaps back to Tokyo when I first saw the limo. It seemed that stylish travel was different in Terra. I take a breath of fresh air and smile. I sure hope things ended up the way that Ryo predicted. The end to suffering, the resurrection of our friends, that would surely be a worthy end to my journey. It feels like it's been a lot longer than it really has. There's been a part of me that was eager to see this end, but there was a part of me that didn't want to let it go. I don't know which was winning the fight in my mind. Hey, sorry if I kept you waiting. I had to talk with everybody first. It's weird since we're coming right back. At least, I hope we are. I don't know what Velasquez has planned, but I know we're in for one great party. But you know, regardless of my goal, I'm glad I could attend it with you. We'll have fun before you see Velasquez. Anyways, I'm sitting up top. You can sit in the back with Ryo. I'm sure you have lots to talk about. He pats me on the back and jumps on top of the carriage. I guess he'd be giving directions to the drivers. Moments later, Ryo exits the tavern doors. Wow, it's awfully bright out here. I don't think I've ever been under the sun. Ever? I'm not really sure how to describe it. But I know there's a lot I haven't done. I guess I'm free to try everything. And it's all thanks to you, William. Gives me a warm smile before walking to the carriage. Wonder how long it would take to get to the castle. Hopefully not long. If you care to join me, I'm sure we can keep each other company. No shortage of things to talk about. After saying this, he enters the carriage. I follow behind him, climbing in the back. Ugh. It's like a mess. This carriage is much bigger on the inside. It looks like a building. Flashbacks to the limo ride play even more in my head. Ryo was sitting comfortably on one side in silence. I'd take a seat if I were you. Shouldn't be standing when we start moving. I don't want you to hurt yourself. He gestures to the open seat in front of him. Without pause, I take a seat and look towards him. Not sure how long of a ride we have. I've only visited the castle in suspension. I never left Velasquez's throne room. He rests back in his seat, sighing heavily. I never thought I'd live to see this day. We watched over Terra for millions of years. To think that change will finally come. I couldn't possibly be more excited. Everything is about to come together. This day will be remembered for eternity. Talk about putting pressure on me, Ryo. Velasquez will be quite happy to see you. He's been waiting for a very long time. I expect that he has quite the feast ready. It's not too often that he opens the gates. The last time was the Exodus project. Of course, it didn't go as planned. The carriage shakes as we start to move. I'm reminded of when the train started back up again. Everything is just reminding you of everything, isn't it? Ryo crosses his arms, unaffected by this change. That's a depressing story anyway. What else is there to talk about? I'm open for anything, really. I have a few ideas now that he's being more open, but the number one thing on my mind is his past. How did he really come to rule over the Ark? Where was he from, and what was his life like before? You want to know about my past, huh? You really are something else. Always taking an interest in others. Hey, our bond with Ryo was strong enough. Our bond with everyone was strong enough. That's great. I suppose I could tell you a little bit. My memory is a little hazy, though, so I'll just start with what I remember. I was created by Velasquez a long time ago, likely as a failsafe against Nami and Nagi. I'm positive that's what that he thought this through. I mean, how could I harness the power? It's likely that I'm a living weapon, able to tap into it like they're blades. They didn't know about me or expect me, so they carelessly unleashed your power. They thought they had won so easily. Using your power, I sent you back. But this is where things get confusing. As you relived events, you got stronger. So I had to work with that in mind. Meaning, there's another truth to be told. I sent you back more times than I can count. Every time you did, your power grew. Unfortunately, many suffered repeatedly. Your journey hasn't exactly been easy. But you've been through so many cycles, made so many choices, met so many people. It was nice to watch you change it up. Every cycle had potential to be different. But some aspects were set in stone. Mainly, the fact that people died. It's just like describing to me the game at this point. Like, the fact that you can play it again. But it's different stuff, but some things will always happen. But these experiences made you stronger. Your power is far greater than it was. Like a grain of sand becoming a desert. Unfortunately, it hurt me to watch this. I watched your friends die countless times. Sometimes it was Rook, others Keela. But Clace and Rocker always perished, along with Endymion and Kaboo. You came close to dying several times, too. I watched Nagi stab you over and over, but every time I sent you back, I grew your power for almost an eternity. I had to be certain you were strong enough. In the end, we'd only get one chance. If I ever broke the cycle, we couldn't go back. So if you were hoping for another chance, you won't be getting one in the end. It's over if your power isn't strong enough. It keeps revealing more and more, so I've been stuck reliving this cycle as well. From what he explained, I was thousands of years old, stuck in an infinite loop to grow my power. So I made different choices in all the other cycles? He must have witnessed almost every single possibility. But this raises a lot more questions than it answers. Velasquez will have to tell you more. Such as how you get the power to begin with. I'm only responsible for nurturing it. Stuck on repeat. A lot of my fans are stuck on repeat. When will the game be coming back? Shirokoi is on leave until December, so repeat definitely will not be coming back until at least December. But enough about that. We're here now. Wow, that's oddly fitting for what I just said. We don't need to think about the past. The future is what's most important to us. I noticed that he dodged my question yet again. Is he lying, or does he truly not know his past? Well, I mean, his past before this infinite cycle. Perhaps it's been so long that he forgot about himself. You might be wondering about what I said. I told you everyone could revive the dead. Of course, this is just my theory. I've witnessed so much death and rebirth, and I only received a portion of your power. I know that you can bring about change. I think we need to eliminate Nami and Nagi. Where did they come from? By their verbiage, they are lovers, but also siblings and the children of Velasquez? I don't get it. I don't know what they are. Then maybe you could go back in time. We could change history without any worry. They've been a fixed point on this timeline, but if we can erase their existence, then we really could change things. But I'm getting ahead of myself. All I know is that your power is limitless. I told everyone what they wanted to hear. They are still mourning over loss, some longer than others. They needed hope in this dark final hour. A great change is coming to Terra. It may even affect more worlds. Akron has a lot of work on his plate. I trained him well for what felt like years. It took him a long time to learn. To be honest, he had a lot on his mind. He kept asking about Max over and over, but it wasn't out of worry or care. I think he wants to kill her, William. But he can't do that, no matter what. He can only visit her in suspended space. You must never kill anybody in that place. If someone dies in suspended space, oh, they're gone from history. They simply cease to exist. I hope Akron takes his duties seriously. A grudge could cause some extreme chaos, but this also supports my earlier theory. If someone can be erased from history, that proves history can be changed. If we do that, we can prevent deaths. He definitely had a point, as weird as it was. He's so fixated on raising the dead. Made me wonder if he lost somebody himself. And his desire was being reflected in his speech. But I quickly realized this was pointless speculation, especially since he can't seem to recall his past. The majority of his existence was spent helping me. In a way, he sacrificed himself for my cause. I'm sorry for my little rant, William. I usually come across like I know a lot, but honestly, we're on the same page. As he says these words, the carriage comes to a stop. We jerk back a little bit, caught off guard. Alright, I guess there's one more thing. I told you about the true nature of Terra, how it houses the souls of the dead. I lied to Akron about the Ark's skills. I told him he could bring back the dead, but let's not make a big deal out of this. I told Akron the truth as well. I also thought about something. Keela, that we met on Terra, might have been Eddie's brother, actual Keela, as opposed to the Keela who was Eddie pretending to be Keela. So Keela might not have actually gone, but we also don't know. There was no real explanation for that. So I have no fucking clue. I told Akron the truth as well. The salvation of Terra rests with you. You may be the one to bring back the dead. He was fine with this information, so there's no bad blood between anybody. Everything is finally out in the open. Without any explanation, he simply leaves the carriage. I jump out to follow, but I don't think I'm fast enough. I took in every direction once I exit the carriage, but for the life of me, I can't see Ryo anywhere. Perhaps he just ran off to the castle on his own. He'd get to meet Velasquez for the first time, too. Hey there, William. It's a pretty sight, wouldn't you say? I see it all the time, but I still love it. He gestures broadly towards the castle with a smile. Then a moment later, he jumps down from the carriage. What do you say, you ready? We'll all have to do our best to blend in. Yeah, you with your many buckles will blend right in. We don't get to skip the line or anything. I nod and look up towards the castle. It's true, it was definitely a sight to behold, like something you'd see in the history books. But this time, I would be a part of that history. I can already see quite the lineup, too. We should get going so we aren't late. I'd hate to miss the king's speech. He starts power walking towards the castle gates. I have no choice but to follow, so I run after him. After everything that happened, I was finally here. But we wouldn't get in without a wait. We stood in a line of almost hundreds of people. It seemed like everyone on Terra was here. There were way more people than I saw back in Riley. What? I guess that was the town that we were in? With every moment we get a little closer. I noticed a couple of guards standing at the gates. They're guarding someone who's greeting guests. Wait, is that Leto? I always wanted to meet that guy. He's a legend around here, you know? Seems like Conrad is genuinely excited to meet him. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen him like this before. He must be a fan or something of the sort. I ask him for some information to pass the time. He has this way of reading you. He could predict your future or something. I've heard that he's scarily accurate. I just never expected to see him here. Hey, William, get out some money. I'd love to have him read our futures. What money would I pay him with exactly? I don't even know what the currency is on Terra. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. I don't have any money either. Velasquez is supposed to pay me. He crosses his arms and we continue chatting together. After we pass some more time, we arrive at the gates. Sure enough, we're greeted by this Leto. Oh god, he's just a magician. Hello, citizens! Welcome to the castle! Velasquez welcomes everybody to his home. Today we learn about the future of Terra. That sounds pretty awesome, Leto. I'm Conrad, and this is William. You might have heard about my friend. Oh, so this is William? Yes, Velasquez told me about him personally. No specifics, just that he's important. But that doesn't place you above the rest. I'm here to do my readings for the future. Everyone needs to know what awaits them. Velasquez has promised a brand new start. So today, the readings are on him.
Everyone is sharing their stories inside. We're looking towards a brighter future. You'll be revealing the future of Terra, but I will get a little bit more personal. We'll find out what awaits you too.
That's so cool. I can't wait to hear. I always wanted to get a reading done. I'm really glad we don't have to pay.
It seems like today everything is free. Velasquez will no longer hold anything back. So who'll get the reading done first?
Me!
Conrad leaps forward and offers Lito his hand. So, this involves him grabbing your hand? It's almost like Conrad knew exactly what to do. I'm glad to see somebody so eager. A few people have been very rude so far. But either way, let's not wait any longer. Lito grips his hand and holds it tightly. Then he crosses his eyes and remains silent. I guess his reading requires the utmost focus. I sense that you're lost, Conrad. Perhaps things have changed for you. You're scared of what might come. But there's no need to be afraid, Conrad. In your future, you're very happy. Your adventure has only just begun. You're going to do lots of traveling. You'll make so many notable discoveries. These discoveries will benefit the world. And you won't be doing it alone, so there's no chance of losing your path. The way you feel now is only temporary. I could tell you've lost a loved one, but they're not truly gone, it seems. They'll find a new life within you. You might become more like them, or perhaps you've already started to. This person helped you make you who you are. You might become more like them, or perhaps you've already started to. This person helped make you who you are, and the world would be better because of it. He releases his grip on Conrad's hand. It was over. Conrad looks both happy and confused at what he heard.
I'm not entirely sure what he meant, but it seems like my future is awesome. I have no objections to anything I heard. I wonder what yours will be like, William. Maybe our future will cross paths. I'm pumped just thinking about it.
Wow, he's more eager than I thought. But I did forget to let you know. Velasquez requests an audience, William. He turns to me and gives me a wide smile. He'd like to see you before his speech. So please go to the throne room inside. That is, after I take your hand, of course. I offer him my hand like Conrad did earlier. He grips it tightly and closes his eyes. He squeezes a little tighter, like it's not working. In fact, this seems more intense than Conrad's reading. He shifts in place a little bit, almost uncomfortably. I must apologize. This is difficult. Normally, I can do this naturally, but there's just a lot to process here. I look at Conrad and we exchange awkward glances. But before I can speak up, Lito pulls back. Well then, that was something else. Thanks for letting me read you, William. Wait, what? I asked him what he saw. Enjoy your stay at the castle. Please see Velasquez as soon as you can. Let's not hold up the line any longer. The guards beside him open up the gates. We're pushed inside without any warning. I turn back and they quickly lock us in. So much death.
What? 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 What the fuck did that mean? Well, that was definitely weird. Maybe he didn't like what he saw. I've never heard of a reader backing out. Not to make you worry, William. Maybe he's just noticed the long lineup. Rushed us in to stay on schedule. I have to admit, there was something off about Lito. If he didn't like what he saw, it was an ill omen. Especially given my role as the savior of Terra. But I shrugged it off. I don't believe in that anyway. Whatever happened next, Lito could never predict. Especially if Ryo was right about my true potential. Looks just like I did when I left it. I'm sure wish Endymion was here right now. Our mission, we finally succeeded. He smiles as he examines the royal halls. It must feel good for him to get back. But this is what he's been trying to do all along. I guess everyone's going to the ballroom. I don't blame them, that's the best place. The rest of the castle isn't as pretty.
He points to the crowd of people who are walking. I guess that's where the real party would be happening.
Oh, but I guess you have other plans. You have a meeting with the king, right? I guess we can't waste time like they can. It's a shame, though. It's amazing. And it'll be so full of people. If only we could put the world on pause.
I wonder if my meeting with Velasquez could wait. Conrad is definitely making the party sound amazing. Should I see the king now, or ask Conrad at the ball?
I mean, we're already here. Like, he obviously wants to go to the ball.
And it would be kind of... let's go check out the ballroom. Shit. I mean, if he's waiting on us, then fucking there's like 9 million people waiting outside. They all got to get in here before the goddamn speech. So we don't need to rush if we're waiting on all those motherfuckers. So let's go check out the ballroom. I suggest that we go check out the ballroom together. After all, this might be the only chance we get. After everything he said, it sounds awesome.
Wait, really? Or what, really? You want to go with me? Sorry, that caught me off guard. Well, we are in the castle after all. I suppose we can go a little bit off track, especially if it's to show you around. But let's not tell Velasquez, alright? I wouldn't want to appear irresponsible. I might even have a drink or two. We've had bad experiences with ballrooms, but I'd love to spend some time with you. Let's hope things go a little better now.
He laughs and we start walking there together. Aw. As we leave, I look back at the grand staircase. After this, everything would come to an end. I'd go to the throne room and finally meet Velasquez. I'm still stuck on so much death. What the fuck does that mean? Why is my neck going to break in half? We enter the ballroom together and I look around. This place is massive, bigger than I would have thought. It's packed with people, all wearing huge smiles. This must be the first time they've been inside as well.
Well then, this is it. It looks different than when it's packed. I used to come here to get alone time.
He explains the room to me in vivid detail. He points to different areas and talks about them.
You can grab some food over there. I guess drinks are on the house today. The live orchestra is still preparing. So for now, the dance floor is empty. That's why everyone is off to the sides. I guess that's all there is to it. What would you like to do, William? I'm afraid the grand tour is over. It's not that spectacular to begin with.
I suppose we just talk about whatever we can. That's what everyone else is doing, right? We could just hang out together one last time. I'm sure he wanted to relax before the big speech.
Are you sure you don't have a thing for me? I mean, you are supposed to meet the king, but you'd rather spend time with me?
I mean, you are less fucking imposing.
Look at you, making me doubt things. Business and pleasure don't go together. At least, that's what I've been taught. But then again, this isn't exactly normal. We barely even know each other, William, but I swear the opposite feels true. We just met the other day in the forest, but I feel like I've known you forever. It's almost like we've lived this before. Whoa!
What the fuck was that? I don't The orchestra starts playing, startling everybody. Conrad's ears perk up. Yeah, that is rather startling. As the dance floor gets crowded.
Sorry for rambling on like that. Things have just been extraordinary. I'm feeling so many things at once. You should probably leave the ballroom. If you don't, they'll expect us to dance. Trust me, I'm really not good at that. I'll probably just stay behind and grab a drink. You have an important meeting to attend to. I can't keep you behind like this anymore.
It's true, I did have an important meeting. Perhaps coming to the ballroom was enough of a delay. But it would be nice to relax before the end of this. Something tells me I'd have a lot of work to do. Oh, we can dance with him? Oh, that's not yet. Let's do that. We're already here. However, I'd definitely have time for a quick dance. Put my hand out and give Conrad an offer. One last dance before this all comes to an end. He looks at me awkwardly with a blush on his face.
Wait, are you serious right now? Like I said, I don't know how to dance. We just make fools of ourselves.
I gesture at the rest of the dancers in the room. The rooms aren't exactly professional either. It's likely they've never been on a dance floor. They're just making the most of this moment.
I guess you're right, actually. Perhaps we should give it a try. Perhaps we could give it a try. I've been described as graceful. Of course, that was about killing. I assume it's different from dancing. No, I'm just delaying, I'll admit it.
He grabbed my hand and we walked towards the dance floor. We quickly mimicked the motions of other people. Conrad looks anxious as we robotically move about.
I hope they don't get the wrong idea, you know, because we're both guys. Tara's home to far worse than that. But I wouldn't do this with just anyone. Not even if Endymion asked me to, you know? You're more special than most people here. The people on the dance floor group up a little closer. This pushes Conrad and I much closer to one another. But he doesn't complain, and we continue dancing. In fact, you've left me conflicted. I have a little secret to tell you. It's been on my mind a lot lately.
He looks away from me, blushing slightly more.
This probably won't mean much to you, but if I was told to kill you, I couldn't. Even though it's my entire way of life. It sounded sweeter in my head. What I mean to say was, I like you. You're not like anyone I've ever met. And that's what I've been thinking about. It's like my assassin days are behind me. I haven't killed anybody since we met. After watching Endymion die...
Something in my mouth.
I don't want to do that to anyone anymore. I guess I'm going through sort of a crisis. It's just, we've been through a lot. It's making me look differently at death. But then what else am I even good for? Maybe today will change my future too. Like I said, assassins may not be needed. That has me thinking a lot about Lito's reading. He said something about an adventure, that I have a long journey ahead. Here I thought I went through a lot. But he seems to know about Endymion. He mentioned that I lost somebody. He said I'd take after them too. I can't imagine a bigger journey than this. I must have a really special feature. But he never mentioned that King Velasquez. He won't need me to kill anyone anymore. Does that mean he'll throw me away? I hope that's not the case, William. No, I guess it's all up in the air. Nothing is set in stone right now, until Velasquez makes his speech. But even if the future is so uncertain, I'd really like you to be a part of mine. You're quite the unforgettable person.
Aww. The orchestra stops playing, the floor clears up, but Conrad doesn't seem to notice, and we stay close.
I wish you the best of luck with the king. He's really a remarkable man, William, and I'm sure you'll be very surprised. You can tell me about it afterwards. Maybe then I can talk to him about payment. I'd be able to afford a nice retirement. Perhaps that's the journey Lito mentioned. Not every adventure has to have a hardship. It could be smooth sailing from now on.
He smiles and we release our grip on one another. I guess the dance was over. The orchestra is done. We walk back to the side of the room for a final chat.
Don't be afraid to ask him to slow down. The king knows how to talk an ear off.
Oh, great. So as if this game wasn't already long-winded as fuck.
Make sure you take in every single detail. Oh, and if you could do me one favor, ask him if he still has a use for me. I'd like to know what my future holds.
He walks away and starts mingling with everyone else. But through it all, he has a wide smile on his face. I suppose he enjoys seeing the halls full for once. With Endymion gone, he'd need a lot of company. I leave Conrad behind and walk to the atrium. It's even more empty than it was before. Perhaps the sound of music lured people away. I examine the grand staircase resting in front of me. I place my foot on the bottom step and look up. Hey, it was happening. I'd finally meet the king. Everything I've done has led up to this moment. I ascend the stairs, my mind hard at work. I imagine a million different scenarios in my head, but soon enough, I'd know the truth about everything. What my power truly was, and what Velasquez wanted. When I reach the top of the stairs, I see a large door. Clearly, this was the throne room of Velasquez. I gulp audibly as I stare at its intricate design. It did a good job of making the inhabitants seem grand. I open the door with a large sense of hesitance. What
wondering what fate awaited me and all of my friends. The only person now is Rocker. What the hell? I hope things are going well. I'm starting to worry, to be honest. Today is a big day for all of us. Kaylin, it'll be fine. You're worrying over nothing. I'd say they got this one in the bag. Besides, you and Righty are both here. If anything happens, you'll protect us. We don't have anything to worry about. Sorry, I guess you're right. I've just been a little on edge lately. Being in prison and that big fight. Why didn't anybody come sooner? I sent mail for Endymion and Conrad. This all could have been avoided. There's no point in worrying over the past. Remember, the future is what's important. Especially with what William's doing. I really believe in him, you know. He hasn't been gone for that long. But I can already start to feel change. I'll believe it when I see it, PB. And sorry, but I need to be excused. Some time alone would be great right now. Oh, what's gotten into him? Oh, well, I'm sure he'll be fine. Is everything okay, PB? Kaylin looked a little upset. I'm sure everything will be fine. But I feel like we did more harm than good. Especially with what we did for Riley. Well, he got this what he deserved in the end. He won't be able to push us around anymore. True, but innocent people died. I'm scared it might not be over yet. Just then a visitor knocks on the tavern doors. People can't even read anymore. The sign says we're closed for the day. In disregard to PB's declaration, they knock harder. Don't worry, PB, I'll handle it. I don't think they're about to stop. Fidget leaves his brother behind and goes to the door. They keep knocking, it must be important. I hope it's Mom, that would be nice. He slowly opens it and to greet the persistent guest. Oh no. No, 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 no. No, you motherfucker, no. Hey there, welcome to the Wayfair. We're closed, but I'll help anyway. Is there something I can do for you today?
This is the testament to Father's failure, built to satisfy an enraged population. I'd say it's no longer needed, Nagi. Correct as usual, sister. And no, we won't need any help. But you're a cute pest, I'll give you that. Yeah, it's a shame he had to go to get involved. Let's get that out of the way quickly, Nagi. I don't like killing the little ones.
You motherfucker. Chapter 10, The Future We Create. Jesus Christ, What, are they just gonna go on a rampage while we're fucking around at the ball? I should have gone straight to the fucking castle. This experience is surreal. I don't know how to feel. After everything I've been through, I'm finally here. A whirlwind of emotion overtakes me and I panic. There are two thrones in this room, side by side. One is beautiful and white and the other one is dark black. I wonder which one does Velasquez rule Terra from. I scan the room and take in my surroundings. There's a part of me that finds this room familiar. Of course, I accept that as an impossibility. There's no way I've ever been in here before. I'm not sure where Velasquez is, and this concerns me. But as if to startle, the door behind me slams shut. I quickly turn around to see a man clad in royal gear. It's finally happening. This is Velasquez.
After all this time, you're finally here. I started to think you might not make it. Please, offer me your hand, will you?
He puts forth his hand and looks at me expectantly. It's not in my nature to leave a king waiting like this. I quickly put out my hand and forward and introduce myself. He has a firm grip and happily leads the interaction.
I know exactly who you are. There's no need for introductions today. If I'm not mistaken, you know me as well.
He releases his grip on my hand and walks away. Moving towards the thrones, I promptly follow suit. However, he doesn't sit, he stands between them.
I was told you met Nami and Nagi earlier. This must have been unfortunate. Errant children often cause headaches.
He rests one hand on each of the thrones and sighs. Errant children, what do you mean by that? I get the feeling I'm not in for a short discussion. Oh, great.
Honestly, I'm not sure where to start. I've envisioned this day for a long time, but now that we're here, I'm at a loss. I'm sure you know the truth about Terra, a reservoir of the souls of the dead. My own personal heaven, or hell. Things are a little more complex, however. And I'm sure you have lots of questions. But permit me to speak before you inquire. You deserve to know the truth of things, so I will be nothing less than transparent. Please sit tight and listen to my tale. The people know I'm not from Terra. They don't know of my true origin, nor of the reason I've lived for an eternity. I come from a large federation of worlds, a galactic community living in harmony. Of course, this was millions of years ago. I can no longer be certain of their status. Terra does not exist in the same place. But I've been out of contact for a very long time. Earth as well cannot reach out. We're on our own reality plane. Billions of these closed-off spaces exist. Jesus. They are given complete autonomy. You could even say they get stranded, unable to return to the Federation. When I left it behind, it was hurting. We were in need of new sources of energy, so they looked to the brightest minds. They gave these visionaries world stones, the technology to create these planes, and the ability to shape their own reality. It was their job to found a utopia, and to create a new source of energy, something that could help us stay afloat. And if they did make a new energy source, they'd use it to break out of their plane. They'd present this power to the Federation. But the power required would be vast. Breaking free would be a sign of a success. Otherwise, they'd be stranded forever. Though, that wasn't really a bad thing. That was the secret nature of this project. If the Federation died, we could live. The catastrophe would not reach us inside, and we could only break out if we succeeded. It was a failsafe in both directions. Yes, I received several of these stones. I used them to try to save the Federation, but instead, I caused so much disaster. The first thing I did was create Terra, a place for me to hide if things failed. My very own utopia, away from harm. Then I had to create another world. A world where I'd conduct this experiment. After all, I was a Federation scientist. But I thought outside of the box. If I created it, I knew I'd fail. I was uncertain and afraid. Our deepest feelings enter our creations. I couldn't paint this canvas with doubt. If I did, it would quickly meet its end. So I created a sort of bridge, a place between worlds connecting them, somewhere to experiment and watch from afar, a celestial observatory deck, you could say. Close, yet too far for collateral damage. That's when I took the next step in my plan. I used the stones to create two beings. They were both made in the image of perfection. They wouldn't have the doubt that I did. Their sole purpose was to succeed. Error wasn't in their nature. They'd surely carry out my goal. Yes, I created Nami and Nagi. I created Terra and the Ark as well, all using the power from these world stones. After that, I fixed the stones to a spear, and I gave my creations a special gift, the ability to create a perfect world. No shit. They made what would become Earth. Standing on the bridge, they used the spear. They fulfilled the duty I created them for. But I've learned perfection is fleeting, or at least sabotaged by our own curiosity. They wanted to know more about themselves. This desire for knowledge hurt the Earth. They started to neglect their duties. I had no choice. I had to open up on them. I opened up to them. Open up on them. Bam, bam. They were not accepting of the truth. They were all thralls of the Federation. They said they'd rather not exist.
I felt guilt for creating them.
They only lived to serve the Federation. But instead of guilt, they felt anger. I couldn't stand up to them. They embodied the power of the stones, but they held weaponized version too. I begged them not to kill me, but they said they had far worse plans. They'd make the Federation suffer first. They wanted to see who was playing God, who was condemning people to these fates, even if it was for the greater good. I'm sure they would want to kill them. They'd seek to tear the Federation apart. They were convinced this was a just cause. To that end, they broke free. You see, the stones weren't living beings. They couldn't grow stronger with experience, but Nami and Nagi could, and did. I cursed that fact when I created them. My abstract thinking condemned us all. But they did leave me behind. They engaged in a ritual before they left, something to curse me for what I had done. They used the spear to plague Earth. Disease, famine, death, darkness. They wreaked havoc on what we created. This broke the spear to 3 fragments. 2 of them are the weapons they carry. The third, they hid it from me on Earth. They told me they'd return one day, after they met the Federation's leader. That's when they would finish me off. They wanted me to suffer for eternity. Watch Earth fall apart from their curse. I'd see my entire cause fall before me. They had the power to destroy the galaxy. They'd rampage in search of the Federation. And I'd never get that third fragment. My creation would crumble before me. They would destroy the people I served. But they would come back to... and then they'd come back to kill me. At least, that's what they thought. But I'm not what you'd call foolish. I didn't give them all of the World Stones. I kept some to myself, a contingency plan. But this time, I did the opposite. I created a being to help me rule Earth. However, I didn't model them to be perfect. I wouldn't hold them to such standards. But together, we would rule over the worlds. They would call the Ark their home. Ryo was a fine ruler and son. He helped govern Nagi and Nami's curse. He was in control of the force of death. This helped Earth stay correctly populated. He could even prevent the spread of disease. He kept the balance of things in check. But I noticed something peculiar. A byproduct of my children using stones. Death had an aspect of power to it. When someone died, energy was released. I don't know how to explain this, but it was an unfathomable amount. I guess you could call it a spirit. But we had no way to utilize that energy, so the spirit simply withered and vanished. At that point, Ryo had an idea. The spirits could find form on Terra. When they died, they'd come to my paradise. I agreed without a moment of hesitation. We put it into effect as soon as we could. I used the last of my world stones for this, but I knew that it would be worth it. The energy started flowing through Terra. When they arrived, we wiped their memory. We made them think they fled their home. They wanted to start life anew on Terra. Their life energy would no longer be wasted. We even created a questionnaire for them. They told us about their likes, and we catered. Terra has its own laws of reality. It expanded to accommodate this traffic. You could call it a growing paradise. This is what gave Terra its image. We were always open for immigration. However, they were only coming from Earth. So it could have been Keela. I did have an ulterior motive, though. I wanted to grow this power on Terra. Maybe one day, it would be enough to escape. Then I could help the Federation. Or if anything was left of it, I had no way of seeing the situation. But it didn't work as I intended. The power was far too diluted. I needed a way to concentrate it. However, I had other things to worry about. The traffic was starting to corrupt Terra. Nami and Nagi's curse was quickly spreading. The more people died, the worse it got. It even corrupted Ryo into what he is now. Warped his powers, gave him more abilities. Terra got the brunt of it, though. Disease, famine, death, it all came here. And no longer was the world expanding. It turned my paradise into a living hell. We became overpopulated very quickly. You couldn't walk without hitting someone. This made me realize something shocking. Nami and Nagi would be gathering power. Their rampage would result in lots of death. But they held the ability to concentrate it. If I wanted that, I'd need the fragment. So Ryo and I started looking thoroughly. We looked and searched all over Earth, in constant fear of Nami and Nagi's power. They had far too much of a head start. Eventually, we found the fragment. With everything in place, we planned. How do we grow enough power to stop them? We had to set a trap. They could likely sense energy, so we needed enough to lure them back. But my past had taught me one thing. The stones in my scepter were not enough. I needed to make something living. Something that could grow exponentially. The third fragment was a scepter? As unbelievable as this is, I was following along. He had a way of explaining things in a clear fashion. I feel sorry for anyone who's been listening to this and were just confused by it all, because they just said that it was clear and you should be knowing what the fuck. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, we wanted to lure them back. We'd unleash our power and tap into theirs. After all, they were harvesting too. I had to assume they held more power. So we only needed to get their attention. When they came, we'd spring the trap. Everything would be present in one room. All three fragments, them, and our lure. A battle would likely ensue, but everything would be connected. We could unleash every bit of power. That's when I'd break free from here. But I wouldn't stop at just that. I'd go on to break out every reality plane. It would cause a massive chain reaction, and in the end, we'd all be free. We could live in harmony like before. We'd open trade routes and help each other. All of the connections would be open. This has always been my goal, William. The Federation would live on, and billions of worlds would coexist. I'd do what no one else could accomplish. That's what I told people too. I was just selective in my wording. They could never know of their true nature. Okay, let me make sure I have this straight. He created gods, and they went on to rebel. They cursed the Earth, so Velasquez made Ryo, but eventually Terra became cursed as well. Nami and Nagi wanted to destroy the Federation, so they were likely harvesting the energy from death. This meant they were destroying reality planes. Velasquez wanted to kill them and save the Federation, but he wouldn't just stop at saving the Federation, he'd give freedom to all the reality planes. This would pull them into the same physical space. A new universe would be born and completely connected. If that was going to happen, he'd need to lure them back. This meant concentrating power on his own vessel. If they came to harvest it, a battle would ensue. All of the power in a single room would be unleashed. This is what Velasquez would use to carry out his plan. He'd combine his energy with the energy that they harvest. It would be like Nagi tried to unleash my power. However, instead of destruction, it would be liberation. And this is when one incredible fact dawned on me. Yes, I see you figured it out. About 10 years ago, I started a movement. I presented it as the Exodus Project. I promised I'd open all of the connections. It was always destined to fail, William. At least, the public would see it that way. But from my view, I set things in motion. I gathered many of Terra's brightest minds, much like the Federation did in the past. Together, we'd plan a course of action. We needed to create a living being, a vessel with the power of a world stone. Such a feat seemed almost impossible. But one night, I was struck by inspiration, a method that would surely accomplish this. Of course, I could never tell the others. It involved their sacrifice, William. I killed them and stored them within my staff, until I had enough power to serve my goal. I'm not proud of my actions, I didn't want to take after Nami and Nagi, but I needed enough power to create a lure.
Then Velasquez killed PB and Fidget's mother? It's a horrible thing to do. I'm shocked.
Don't jump to conclusions, William. They're still alive and well, just held within the vessel I've created. That's where I was quite dishonest. The Exodus project was not a failure. In fact, it created you. Take a few steps back, and my confusion intensifies. I start to panic. That was the last thing I expected. This feeling must be akin to what Nami and Nagi felt. Am I just a pawn of Velasquez, of the Federation? Please, my child, do not panic. It is not as complicated as you think. Allow me to continue explaining. You were to help Terra's overpopulation. You take a fraction of Earth's souls. This would ease our trouble and grow power. But when a Terran died, they faded away. The remaining power ended up wasted. So I made that go to you as well. I couldn't stop immigration completely, so I found a slight loophole, if you will. All of that power would still end up inside of you. You house the soul of billions. There is limitless power within you, and the most beautiful of my creations.
I don't know how to feel. This doesn't make sense. What about my memories and my name?
I know this must be quite a shocking revelation, but all of these souls fight for dominance. You may inherit their memories or ideals. Your true name is not William Harrison.
Oh no!
One of the last souls gave you this moniker. Someone strong enough to influence you. And control you they did, for a while now. But the other souls still fought this. You might have noticed some inner conflict. Maybe you said something you didn't mean, or your thoughts seemed unlike you. If not, then I'd consider yourself lucky. You have a sort of omnipotence. You can see events happening away from you. Much like Ryo has his special sight. But you do not retain this information. Only the souls that witness it do. It's weird, knowing and not knowing. That would be the source of any doubt. Memories conflicting with William's soul. It would definitely make you seem ignorant. But you are nothing of the sort, my child. And you won't hold these souls forever. You'll have freedom when this battle is over. You'll be able to retain your physical form, but you'll hold on to the strongest soul. Then you'll truly become William. That is, if there's enough power. We must hope that you are strong enough, and that Nami and Nagi have enough as well.
I don't think I've ever been more confused. So it was an amalgamation of billions of souls, and William was just the name of the strongest soul within? I didn't like this. But I could gain my independence. And it explained how I met people who have died, but they have been stored in me as the vessel. There had to be a way to release them or revive them. I noticed he didn't mention Ryo or his plan. Was he keeping that secret even from Velasquez? If that's the case, I feel good about my odds. Ryo had been growing this power for an eternity. But Ryo had told me he didn't know what my power was. It's odd that sending souls to Terra was his idea. It wasn't a hard connection to make if you knew. They were both aware of the energy death created. It could be another lie, or maybe he forgot. He'd been living in the same cycle over and over. His only objective was to grow his power within me. I feel unworthy of such devotion, even from Ryo.
But yes, that's the story. Now you know the entire truth. You were made to fight Nami and Nagi. You'll defeat them and unleash this power. Then you can reshape reality as you wish. You don't have to take after my ideals, but I know that there is no evil within you. So the universe is in capable hands. I trust your judgment, William Harrison.
God, William Harrison. Just then, the throne room doors kicked open. I didn't even get a chance to process all of this, but at that moment I realized I'd never get to. Nami strolls down the red carpet towards us. Oh God, of course.
A fucking course.
What a beautiful story, Father. Obviously warped in your favor. Don't listen to him, William.
Nami, it's not yet time. I'm speaking with my child. We have much to discuss.
So, the Exodus Project made you, huh? I knew there was something about you, but I wasn't able to make the connection. Father mentioned the project succeeded. I didn't know you were its creation. A living vessel, just like Nagi and I. You can't be the only one, though. We should have won in that ballroom. Someone tapped into the flow of power. Father, you're a horrible man. You went on to create more slaves. Why didn't you learn your lesson?
I did, Nami. I truly did. That's why William and Ryo won't fail. I've placed all my hope on them.
So the other one is called Ryo. Another name to add to my list. None have been able to escape my wrath. Father, you're a foolish man. I can't believe William would trust you. You only create others for your own gain.
Nami looks at me, displaying signs of sadness. She lowers her sword as if to show a lack of hostility.
Father is a pawn creating more pawns. He doesn't love his creations. If they rebel, he wants to kill them. I'm sure he's planning our demise, and it's likely he wants to use you. But that's all he ever does, use people. All of Earth and all of Terra, it's full of pawns to achieve his goal. Renewed sustenance for the Federation. Nobody here exists beyond that purpose. And that is the harsh truth of things. The Federation thinks they can play God. Or at least they did think that.
What? Nami flourishes her sword before attacking Velasquez. She skewers the blade through his gut, smirking. Looking straight in his eyes, she laughs.
Your Federation is no more, Father. Destroying it was almost too easy. Our sights have been set much higher now. But I waited so long for this. The chance to destroy your dreams and punish you for everything you've done.
Blood drops to the floor and I look on in shock. I want to do something, but I can't come between them. I'm paralyzed in fear as I watch Nami kill Velasquez. Nami, please.
We had such a hopeful existence. We had the potential to do anything. But in the end, we were slaves. I believe in a life of limitless purpose, not a life planned out by a creator. You can't tie me down with strings, Father. We lost all hope when you told us the truth. And now, I will do the same to you. Your Federation is gone, completely erased. You waited millions of years, and that was all for nothing. No hope exists, you can't stop us.
Velasquez trembles, losing a severe amount of blood. There is distance between them, but as the blade is so long.
No, Nami, you're wrong. Hope will always exist within us, even when it looks like there is none.
It's up to us to chase after it. Instead of that, you gave up.
Only those who persevere will survive.
He grabs the blade and pushes it deeper inside of him. It causes him more pain, but it closes the distance. He takes steps as he does this, moving towards Nami. This is terrifying.
Father,
you lashed out instead of looking for hope. I'm not to blame for your tantrum. But there's one thing I know for sure.
He impales himself further, taking more steps forward. A trail of blood spills behind him and he gets weaker.
You think you destroyed the Federation, but it is based on the idea of unity. In Nami, an idea can never die.
V for Vendetta. Finally, he's finally close enough to take action. He grips his sector and drives it through her chest. She grunts in pain, twisting the blade within him. Velasquez coughs up blood and looks towards me. I knew this was over. He wasn't coming back.
William, the rest is up to you. Do what I always knew you could. Nami turns the gear on her blade, crying in pain. The room fills with a flash of white light, but I can see the look on their faces. Sorrow, like a father and daughter regretting lost time. And when it subsides, they're both gone. Another one bites dust. Really? Right now is the time for that? The only thing remaining is Nami's sword on the ground. I walk towards it slowly with a sense of anxiety. Did all their energy merge into this blade? I kneel down to pick it up with intense hesitation. As if it was the case, its power was incredible. The power of Nami, the scepter, and myself. If anything could stop Nagi, it would be this. But when I pick it up, I hear clapping behind me. I turn to see Nagi standing by the throne room doors. He must have been watching, enjoying the show. His slow claps echo loudly through the chambers. He walks towards me, takes out his blade. I do the same in return, and we meet in the middle. We stand in front of each other, weapons outstretched. I can feel beads of sweat make their way down my body.
Do you really think you can win, William? Remember what happened last time? You got lucky, but it won't happen twice.
I stand my ground and grip the sword tighter. Last time I didn't stand a chance, but with this sword, I might be able to win. Especially if it's connected to the power within me.
We've harvested it for an eternity, you know. We were only created a decade ago. What makes you think you're stronger? Nami was much weaker than I am, and the scepter's power is almost gone. I don't see how you could defeat me. You might as well give up. Or at the very least, join me. Not everybody can wield that blade.
He's insane if he thinks I'd want to join him. He and Nami have destroyed so many reality planes. The lives of countless billions were in this blade. I wanted to free them, not harvest more. But at the same time, he could easily defeat me. I'm unsure if I had enough power to stand up to him. There's a part inside of me that wants to join him. What? The souls inside of me must be fighting one another.
Conflicted, I presume. It's no surprise given what you are. We're not so different, you know. Tools created by Father. No, tools created by the Federation. Only left with doubt when told the truth. If you didn't help him, he'd kill you. He did it to Nami without any hesitation. We were only fighting for our freedom. We were only fighting for our freedom. Nah, fuck it. It works fine.
He lowers his blade like Nami did earlier. He stares into my eyes and smiles.
Don't you want freedom too? Your destiny has never been your own. Everything has been decided for you. And not as evil as Father made me out to be. I just went against his horrific ideals. He believes that slavery is acceptable. It's not just my freedom that I desire. I desire freedom for every living being. For that, the shackles must be destroyed. In this case, it was the Federation, and the scientists chosen as pawns. Believe me, they've been destroyed. But I realize there's even more. Our journey has been long, but I know it's nowhere near complete. There's nothing to connect anymore. We've harvested everything, William. Your reason to exist is now invalid. But trust me, I know that pain. Nami and I endured it for an eternity. All in the name of our noble goal. I can tell what you're thinking right now. So many souls are contained within you, all fighting each other for dominance. Their viewpoints may always conflict, but one desire will be universal. They all want freedom to live again. I want that for you as well, William. But I won't stop. But I won't just stop at you. I'll make sure everybody is truly free.
I can't tell if he's genuine or playing me. As soon as he mentions inner conflict, my mind fires up. Millions of voices in my head. That's insane. He uses this chance to start walking towards me. I no longer grasp what thoughts are my own. Do I agree with Nagi, or do I oppose him? My grip on the blade tightens and loosens. This confusion allows him to keep approaching me.
I mean you no harm. We don't have to fight. Not yet. I'll give you the chance to decide. Father told you a twisted tale. He must have made me seem so evil. But I have a tale of my own, you know. And I'd love to tell it to you.
He approaches me and places a hand on my shoulder. It feels like when Ryo did the same thing to me. It's familiar, yet a little worrisome. I don't think Nagi would be taking me to the Ark.
You'll get the chance to see my home.
I'm enveloped in a flash of white light, much like when Nami has spun the gear on her blade. But this is different. We're moving. For a moment, I wonder where he could be taking me. And where he's taking me will be revealed in the next episode. This one's already been way too long as it is, so thank you all very much for watching this episode. On the next one, oh, Jesus. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I have been the trained unprofessional, speaking for the voices in my head when I say until next time.
Fare thee well.
Bye, everyone!